Paul Manafort is staying home. A federal judge said Thursday that President Trump's former campaign chairman must remain under house arrest and continue to wear GPS monitoring devices. Manafort's attorneys did not properly file the paperwork needed for the request, U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson said during a brief hearing in Washington, D.C. District Court. His lawyers, in calling for him to be freed from home confinement, attacked the strength of the evidence against him, saying in court documents that the case brought by special counsel Robert Mueller is embellished. They also say the veteran GOP strategist poses no flight risk and couldn't even go into hiding because he is one of the most recognizable people on the planet today. Manafort is a successful, international political consultant, his lawyers argued. The 68-year-old strategist and his longtime business associate Rick Gates are facing a 12-count indictment that includes money laundering and other financial crimes related to their political consulting work for Ukraine's former ruling party. Win McNamee, Getty Images. They both pleaded not guilty and were placed on house arrest earlier this week after being released on multi-million-dollar bonds. Jackson warned their lawyers not to talk to the press and scheduled a bond hearing for Monday. Prosecutors labeled both men, who held top posts in the Trump campaign, as flight risks because the serious nature of the charges, their history of deceptive and misleading conduct, the potentially significant sentences the defendants faced, the strong evidence of guilt, their significant financial resources, and their foreign connections. Adding to their suspicions were a cell phone and email address Manafort registered under an alias in March. He also made trips to China, Mexico and Ecuador between May and June. Downing, however, said it was highly unlikely Manafort would abandon his wife of 40 years or his children. Jonathan Ernstreuters deposit that he nevertheless poses a serious risk of flight because he is 68 years old and, therefore, under the government's theory could potentially spend most of the remainder of his life in prison, completely ignores his strong family ties, Downing wrote. The $18 million the government wants to seize would wipe out a substantial portion of Mr. Manafort's wealth. Downing confirmed early reports that Manafort knew about the looming indictment after the FBI conducted a no-knock raid on his home in Alexandria, Virginia. The charges came from special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of Russian meddling in the U.S. election. Downing, along with the White House, noted earlier this week the charges had nothing to do with the Trump campaign. Manafort headed the real estate developer's bid from May to August 2016, during which time Trump secured the Republican nomination. During that time, and for several weeks after Manafort's departure, Gates served in top positions of the campaign. Manafort was also revealed to have multiple passports, which Downing said is perfectly permissible to have several copies of a U.S. one, especially for people who travel as much as he does.